Whose stock goes up at Miami Under Armour after top performances and sees their recruitment go up as well?
Locked On presents The Portal, the daily podcast covering college football recruiting and everything NIL. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome back into The Portal. I am your host, Brian Smith, longtime college football recruiting analyst and writer. Thank you for making The Portal your first listen each and every day. Truly appreciate you stopping in to have all the happenings brought to you in the recruiting world, transfer portal, and NIL. It's a lot of fun for me, and I hope you enjoy it just as much. Today, we're going to be previewing Miami Under Armour. It's the big event tomorrow, and there are a lot of players going from all over the state of Florida, some even from the central part, because many of them were at that Big Sevens tournament in Atlanta the last weekend when they had the Miami Under Orlando tournament. So I think this will be as good an Under Armour as there is in the country this year, and I'm really excited. And I wanted to focus on the DBs, the receivers, the running backs, guys that can really play in space, because that's what South Florida is known for. And I love those matchups. I love getting the film and the clips. I want to make some predictions about who I think will do well and who's also got a chance to shine if they do already kind of earned their top of the board ranking. So let's just start with that. Calvin Russell, Miami Northwestern, a wide receiver. Can't teach the size and the length, that's for sure. He's 6'4", roughly 200 pounds. Basketball player, played quarterback for part of his career at Northwestern, and now he is the star receiver there in terms of the big play down the field, a highlight reel guy. Can anybody cover him one-on-one consistently without holding? We see a ton of holding at these events, and these kids will throw their hands up like, oh, they didn't get anything. Well, they get 3 flags. Can anybody handle Calvin in pure one-on-one, especially if you're going to really press him? That will get you a lot of viral clips. That will get you attention from college coaches. That will get you guys like myself and other people that are there in the recruiting industry, talking to college coaches, talking to scouts, talking to 7-on-7 coaches, and all that ends up going around the college coaching world. And that's where all the offers come from. They want to know who performs in the biggest moment. So a couple of the guys that I want to talk about, they're fun to watch on film, but it's different when you go up against Calvin or somebody like a big body guy or somebody could really fly, or one of my favorite receivers in this class, Jasen Lopez, the receiver at Chaminade. He's probably going to be a slot in college. Love all these guys. So no matter what, South Florida's got it. If you're a DB, can you handle that? Maybe my favorite possible matchup would be Jordan Crutchfield, the really big DB from Westwood High School in Fort Pierce. If he went up against Calvin, he's not necessarily going to just purely run with him because, the receiver knows the route and you don't. But he's got a lot of length. He's 6'2", 6'3", roughly 200 pounds. He's one of those kids that's very, very agile. How does he do against a Jasen Lopez, a kid that's in the slot? Can he handle that? Or does he need to be a box safety? Does he need to be a free safety? I've seen him play some, but this is another level because you're going up against not only really good players, but it changes from rep to rep that you take once we get to the one-on-one. So I think Lopez will do good, and I think, not surprisingly, Calvin Russell will do good. They might be the 2 best receivers there. Debatable, but they might be the 2 best there. Who can cover them? I think Crutchfield will have more moments than people think. Again, not as many people know about him. He's at Fort Pierce, at Westwood. That's a different program in terms of South Florida because it's not near as far down of Palm Beach County. So that's an interesting player. Xavier Lherisse, the kid that just committed to Oregon, really twitchy kid, got a lot of movement skills. He can run in space, and he's a very clutch player. Is he a nickel for the Ducks? Does he play one of those spots in the deep secondary? I think he could play safety. He's physical enough. And I also think he could play corner. This kind of event will give me a better idea. I wanted to do predictions on this show, but Lherisse is the one I have the hardest time penciling in. Really need to see him go up against some of these top players one-on-one to know. It's really hard to find out without that. A couple of the other guys, Larry Miles from Jones High School in Orlando. He's a kid that's way underrated. I don't know why he doesn't have more offers. And to be honest with you, I think he'll get more after this event. That is a prediction. Larry Miles is very good. Darion Coleman is going to be there. His teammate, the Miami commitment, maybe he'll get to do some reps with him. Obviously, those two, Coleman and Larry Miles, they have a lot of chemistry from playing with one another. That would probably help. Here are a few other guys that I think will do well in some of the interesting matchups that I want to kind of talk about. Devontae Anderson out of West Orange in Orlando. Like I said, some of the Orlando kids are definitely coming down. Is he a safety? Is he a nickel? Is he a corner? Those things I want to see for myself. I know they get labeled because when they get put in these databases, it's hard. You got to pick something. Maybe he can play something else besides what we've heard about. I think that he's a really good football player, but I'm not sure which spot. Again, kind of like with Lherisse, if you're good, we'll find a spot for you, but we need to see specifically what's best. And that also changes your ranking and more offers. Darryl Trey Bell, the kid that's committed to Florida State from Barbara Goldman. I think he's a safety. He could probably play receiver or running back or something else, but I think he's best at safety. But now, is he a guy that could also play nickel? That's a kid that I would really like to see him go up again. I'm going to use this kid's name a lot. If you haven't seen Jasen Lopez, I'm telling you, he is legit at Chaminade Madonna. He is legit. That's the kind of guy I want to see if he can guard him at least a little bit. Danny Odom, a corner from First Academy in Orlando. He's got Penn State, he's got Nebraska, he's got Vanderbilt, he's got Miami. Some of these schools lined up for OVs. I just haven't seen him. I'm curious about him. I've heard that he's a really good corner. In the visits, kind of, they match that. Like Penn State's not going to come down to the state of Florida to recruit Odom or anybody else unless they're legit. But I need to see specifically where they're best at. That's just my opinion on it. Here's a few more that I'm kind of curious about. Tedarius Hughes, the safety that's committed to Florida State as well. Can they keep him away from Miami, Syracuse, and some others, by the way, because he's certainly being recruited heavily. I really like Tedarius's length. If he could play nickel, that would be unique. And besides Crutchfield, he might be the guy that I want to see the most go against Calvin Russell. A big-bodied kid like that, I'm sure they know each other. He's from South Dade, and I believe he's transferring, if I remember right, to Northwestern. But these kids in South Florida transfer so much, I have a hard time keeping up. At any point that those two could go against each other, that'd be great. I think Hughes is 6'1", 6'2" at least, and I love his film. I've seen him play once in 7-on, but this is a different kind of deal. A couple other kids just in general that I want to talk about. Javian Mallory, the running back from South Florida. Is he an all-around back? Can he catch really well? Does he run routes? Those are important things to me. And I also want to see Cameron Wilson. I know he's not a skill guy, but his traits are really important. 6'4", 215, twitchy, plays at Miami Southridge. Not as many people have talked about him. I like his film a lot. Can he be that dominant player? Those are the kinds of guys that I want to see this weekend, and I want to see what they do in the moment because everybody's good there. This has been another edition of The Portal. We're going to be at Miami Under Armour tomorrow. Going to have a lot of clips up on YouTube, on X. Check out the new Portal handle on X, LO_The Portal. It's a lot of fun there too. I've got videos and different things going on. And you can also check us out on a lot of different platforms. But again, you can get this anywhere you go. Download it when you're going to the gym, download it when you're taking a drive, whatever you want to do to listen. Apple, Spotify, all those places, and of course on YouTube. This has been The Portal. Everybody have a good one.